Hi, it's your number one fan, Stacey Marie. So I've just watched the episode of I Am a Killer with Kenneth Lawrence, and the ending where Kenneth opened up and said he accepts full responsibility for saying, "Are you gonna let him get away with flicking us the bird?" And he takes full acceptance of the responsibility for him getting out of the car and it leading to the shooting. That really broke my heart. And him in tears and everything. He's paying his price and he accepts that. He knows he should be in prison. And no, he shouldn't have been on death row because he didn't shoot anyone. The only thing that was wrong with his story is that he did know that he had the gun because of the robberies that they done. That was the only thing that was wrong. Nico, I don't like him. He's very cocky, very smug. Yeah, Nico LaHood is the reason by selling drugs. Kenneth Lawrence's parents were drug users. Don't be a hypocrite. How does he know that the drugs he sold to so many people didn't kill any one of them? How does he know he hasn't murdered anybody? He doesn't. So he's a very hypocritical, and I don't like him. As soon as he said that, I thought, no way. Absolutely not. You do not deserve to judge Kenneth based on that alone. The fact he won't meet him drives me nuts. Yeah, okay, it might be for Kenneth more, but it turns out Kenneth's got something important to tell him. And now we know what it is. It wasn't for him, it was for Nico in the end. And Kenneth's granddad, he's so cute. Always smiley, trying to get him out, believing that he'll get out before he dies. Aww.
For this episode of Basically Detectives, we're continuing our review of I Am a Killer with Episode 3. Hello everybody, hope you're having a good day. We're back with another episode of Basically Detectives, the show where we don't summarize the entire episode for you. We expect you to watch it yourself, and then come here to talk about it with us. You can use our SOS system if you go to murderandlove.com. While you're there, you can also check out our merch store, and while you're at it, you can go to patreon.com/loveandmurder, where you can join our tiers for as low as $1, but we always suggest that you use the $5 and above just to get the best content. I realize I never really introduced myself in these. I am your co-host Rick, although for Basically Detectives, I am your only host. The story for episode 3 is pretty straightforward in my opinion. The inmate we focus on for this episode is Justin Dickens. According to him, he and a close friend, I guess, were dealing drugs and they owed somebody some money or product, so they went out and tried to make do. It's weird that a lot of these stories we hear about people killing or robbing or committing crimes usually have to deal with drugs. Justin apparently, like I said before, he took some product he wasn't supposed to, or at least his friend took product from her husband, some cocaine or something. I think it was like the dude was asleep. Justin and his friend wanted their fix, so they got it. They were like, oh crap, we either owe this guy money or we owe him, we have to replace his drugs. So they go out and they try to sell other stuff to make amends and get the money, but they can't. So supposedly, according to Justin, the husband woke up, told Justin to go pimp out his wife. That sounds like a typical drug addict behavior. Justin apparently walked into a store, wanted to rob the place, but one of the customers at the store, who was a teacher, depending on what version of the story you hear, either tried to talk Justin down and then wanted to defend himself, or made a Hail Mary attempt at rushing Justin to grab the gun, where the gun went off during the physical struggle. There's a lot of things in this episode where Justin will tell us a story, and then either the other person, the other drug addict, I can't remember her name, would confirm what he said, or the husband, whose name I believe was Dallas, would deny something that Justin said. Justin tries to spin this tale where Dallas told him, I do something along the lines of, I do what I can to make do. And he pointed at like a robbery mask or something like that, like a ski mask that is used for robbery. And of course, Dallas says that that's not what happened at all. Dallas tries to explain that he told Justin to use his wife to kind of pimp her out and get the money back, but he also tries to say that he never told Justin to go rob anybody. So, believe what you will. I'm kind of more inclined to believe Justin because he told us everything else. It's a little iffy on whether or not he chose to fire the gun, or if the physical struggle of the teacher trying to grab the gun from him is what set it off. I'm a little iffy on that, but when it comes to recollecting what happened on the night that Justin decided to do this, I think I would rather take Justin's side, because Dallas, and we even hear from his daughter, Dallas isn't really an upstanding guy, and he isn't the kind of person that you'd ever imagine to be like a father figure or that kind of... I'm more inclined to believe Justin in regards to that. Justin's an interesting one, too. He doesn't seem like he's, at least when interviewing him, it doesn't seem like he's capable of these kind of things. So I sort of wonder how much of it was Justin's character and how much of it was just him being a drug addict and the drive to fix his addiction and stay in good with the people who can provide him those drugs. I wonder how much of it comes from that. Because I always speculate that if you took a drug addict and you removed their issue, if you remove the issue of drugs, are they the people that we see them as? Are they the maniacal people who rob and desperately hurt people and steal and all that kind of thing? I don't think so. I think that if you're not a drug addict, if you're in your right mind and you're not looking for a fix, I think those people would be decent people if it weren't for that small bit of corruption they have in regards to the drugs. But that's not what happened here. What happened is that Justin got involved with the wrong people and made some wrong decisions, which led to some tragedy. I do like that we see, I believe it was a coworker, and then the daughter of the teacher who got killed. It was nice to see that they remember him very fondly. They even say, like, when he died, he was nearly 50 years old, but they imagine him as this spry, energetic dude who was, willing to help people and did whatever he could to make a difference and all kinds of good stuff. And it's really sad that we lose those kind of people in these situations, because people like him, it sounded like he would have given somebody like Justin a chance at life. But, I mean, we're never going to know now because of what happened. And Justin, it seemed like he was, I believe one of the factoids during the episode said, Justin would have faced the death penalty if it wasn't for the fact that he was just a little bit underage, and they made a change where anybody under 18, for whatever reason, the death penalty doesn't affect them when they commit their crimes. So he kind of got lucky. He would have been dead, as of today, he would have been dead 18 years ago via the death penalty if that didn't change. So, all in all, I thought this was a good story. It was very tragic that we lost the teacher, of course, but it's a good story about what drugs can push you to do. And we say it all the time here on Love and Murder, drugs push you to do bad things. Drugs are a bad influence. Don't do it. Just say no. We always tell you when it comes to drugs and bad relationships, just say no. This was potentially a case of both, because you have Justin and his druggy friend looking for their product, and then you have this woman who's married to a man that, will do whatever he can to get what he wants. So Justin even says, if they weren't drug addicts, the couple would have been close friends, which is an odd angle for me. Like, that is weird. Like, does Justin think that their desire for drugs brought them closer together? Because it's pretty messed up. Yeah, so this was a good episode. I usually give you guys a call to action, so I do want to hear what you guys think Justin's life would have been like if he wasn't hooked up on all the drugs. Every time there's a story like this, there's a lot of speculation. There's always another angle to look at it from. There's always the aspect of what if. And Justin even gets into that in the beginning. He's like, what if I wasn't there that night? What if I said something different when I walked into the store and aimed the gun? What if I just told them, I will shoot you if you don't let me out? He could have, he'd already made several mistakes at that point, but he could have left and not made the biggest mistake of his life, which was somehow shooting that teacher. So what do you guys think his life would have been like if he wasn't so involved in these drugs? But on the flip side, I know that his attorney spoke to him, and when the attorney was being interviewed for the show, he liked Justin. He thought Justin was a decent person other than the context of how they met. That's an interesting angle, too. I'm always perplexed by these attorneys. Like, if you're a self-defense attorney and you know that your client did the crime, I don't know how those people go through with trying to defend the crime. Is a defense attorney just supposed to sit there and say, okay, you did it, you messed up, now let's try to get you a lighter sentence? No, it's like, I know these people require representation because if the defendant didn't get representation, then the jury and the judge can basically do whatever they want with him. And that could lead into cruel and unusual punishment. But I just, like, if I was to be a defense lawyer, I don't understand how I could sit there and be like, okay, my client did it, now I have to make it so that he's not punished the way he should be. I don't get it. Maybe one of you guys can explain it to me in better detail. But at the same time, if I ever had to be a doctor or a defense attorney, I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, if I was a doctor, my patient died, I would feel so bad. If I was a defense attorney and I didn't think my client deserved the punishment that they were being given, but they got it anyway, I don't know how I'd feel. On the flip side, if I was a prosecutor and I put away the wrong person, I don't know how I'd feel about that either. So those are just two very difficult, prosecutor and defense lawyer, those are two very difficult jobs that someone has to approach. And I get that with time and training and education, maybe you can learn to navigate the subtle nuances of both. But this episode got me thinking about that kind of stuff. I guess Justin's a good example because if you look at him, he seems to have been a decent person, minus the drugs, in my opinion. You guys can feel another way about it. Either way, it doesn't matter. Justin might have been a decent person if it weren't for the drugs and the influences in his life. I'm a drug addict now. All my friends are drug addicts. Here he is in this epidemic of tragedy. Drugs lead to crime. Crime leads to tragedy. And then tragedy can be a death. It can be theft. It can be someone got severely hurt. And in this case, this teacher, there was a death of this teacher, and then the loss was his community, his coworkers, his students, his family lost him as an individual. And that's a shame. It's a shame. It's a tragedy. I can't put into words how awful that is. We can never put into words how awful any of this is. If you guys want to leave a comment, please do. Like I said, please go to patreon.com/sloveandmurder where you can join our tiers. And again, you can go to murderandlove.com where you can check out our awesome merch. And you can also use our SOS system to give us a shout out. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Give us ideas for future episodes. Even tell us, hi, how you doing? What's the weather like in your area? Whatever you guys want to do. So thank you for joining us today, and I will see you guys next week for episode 4 of I'm a Killer.